All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pozios Picks. In today's episode, we're doing a little recap episode. We got Pete back on. If you guys remember, back in December, we did the Futures Epi. Well received, the Futures Epi. People love that one.
I got a lot of good feedback.
I mean, and rightfully so. We cashed some bets. There's some great picks. We're gonna go over all those picks that we made. Just talk about the seasons. That episode was college basketball and NBA. So we got a lot of talk. We have a lot to talk about.
I'm excited to be back on, man.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Oh, yeah.
First time with the new setup. How do you like it?
Beautiful. Now you can tune in. You can see the face behind all this.
I'm telling you, we're making moves out here. We got the new mics, as you guys can see. We got big things on the way.
I think football season is going to be huge. Huh?
Man, I can't wait. We got a lot of good things in store. But all right. So we're gonna start with college, because that college happened a little bit ago. We're just gonna go over it pretty quick. Then we're really gonna dig deep into NBA. So if you guys didn't watch the Futures episode, basically what we did was pick conference winners for all the big conferences, and then gave a little explanation, obviously. And then we took some natty sleepers. Did any of your natty sleepers? I didn't hit any.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, okay. All right.
We'll
Perfect.
talk about it. But yeah, we gave a safe pick and a sleeper pick in case you wanted that big buyout.
Yeah.
I know there's definitely some listeners that like to throw like $5 to win 400, which is just stupid as hell. But
yeah. All right. We'll start with the Big Ten. Obviously, we're Big Ten guys.
I think we both.
Yeah. I took Purdue as my main pick at plus 150. Keep in mind, we put this episode out Christmas Eve as well, so we're using all of the odds from like December 21st-ish, I think, is when we recorded it. So I took Purdue at plus 150, and then I also had MSU at plus 700. Did you just have?
I took State at plus 600, but I saw Purdue. I think I was looking at DraftKings. They were at plus 200 at the time, which was a solid pick at the time.
And I mean, I think they were the most talented team. In the Big Ten.
I think finishing the Big Ten, they were still the most talented team. They just didn't pan out in the Big Ten tournament. Obviously, in the end of Big Ten play, but they have some of the most NBA ready players on that team.
Yeah.
I mean, Jaden Ivey's on there, who's now a Piston. Shout out!
Thank God.
Which the whole city is excited about.
Yeah.
But they had Zach Edey, another 7-footer that could get mobile and play down low. Along with Stefanovic, who might get an NBA shot because he's just a lethal shooter and one of the best in the country. Yeah. But, I mean, we saw Wisconsin and Illinois were the two best teams in the Big Ten this year.
I know. Purdue kind of got unlucky because I think they were the most talented just throughout. But, I mean, Iowa got hot at the right time for the Big Ten tournament. And then Purdue was, of course, like every year, our last hope in the main tournament, the March Madness tournament, and they got bounced by St. Peter's. So
yeah, but that's one that
they just ran into two hot teams at the wrong time.
Yeah, that happens every year. A great coach too is going to be at Seton Hall this next year, which is going to be exciting to see. Yeah. And then bringing up Michigan State, the season just kind of went into shambles, and it's really demoralizing because we went into the NCAA tournament with a higher seed than usual. Which we thought, we like to be a nice underdog, but it obviously did not pan out the way that we hoped. So, but
yeah, that was tough. At the time, so Wisconsin and Illinois won the Big Ten. They shared it. Illinois was plus 500. Shout out to Max. He gave that out.
Yeah, I know. I wish he was here. He'd
he's beating that up. Shout out to Max. He gave that out. And Wisconsin was plus 1,700 at the time. And they shared the title. Obviously, they had Big Ten Player of the Year, Johnny Davis, who,
lottery pick now.
Yeah, his jump from freshman to sophomore year was incredible. Something that I wish we were able to see Max Christie do, maybe. But
he's dead to me.
Yeah, but we didn't get that opportunity. So that was it for the Big Ten. The Big Ten tournament, obviously, Iowa got super hot. Keegan Murray was probably the best player in the country.
Yeah, that could have been another toss-up for Big Ten Player of the Year, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
But both those two guys pretty much tore up college that second half of the season going into the tournament, and now are both top 10 draft picks in the NBA that are going to make a huge difference on both their teams, the Wizards and the Kings. So well-deserved, and congrats to both those guys.
Yeah.
But
The Big Ten had the most draft picks out of any conference.
I know
this year, and
it's awesome.
We just continually fade out in the tournament, unfortunately. But
yeah, I really hope that. I think the problem is that they're getting burnt out in Big Ten play because every single game, especially on the road, is such a battle and a grind. They're low-scoring defensive games, so it definitely makes it difficult to keep that run going into conference play.
I agree, and everyone plays like the same style in the Big Ten.
No,
so
100%.
when we run into different styles,
it's different. Yeah,
it messes us up. Next conference was the ACC. I had Duke at even money. That was by far my biggest futures bet of the year. I had 25 units on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you put a lot on that one.
Yeah, that was a big play. That was a huge hit. I mean there were a couple scares with like Notre Dame at the end. But I mean they controlled the ACC all year.
Yeah, I mean they were one of the best teams in college basketball. They had everything going for them with Coach K being his last season. I took him as well, but I got mine at minus 125, which I still thought was just incredible value when you have the best player in the country in Paolo Banchero, healthy and playing well. They have four first-round picks this year, actually, between A.J. Griffin, Mark Williams, him, and Trevor Keels. Those guys led this team the entire year, and they continue to play and just did not fall apart at the end of the season, which a lot of teams do that have that much talent because they just get a little burnt out. But this Duke team had it.
Keels went second round, but Wendell Moore went first round.
That's what it was. Wendell Moore. Yeah, Keels went 42nd, I believe.
So all five of them
drafted,
went, which was sick. I mean, they just controlled it. Carolina obviously was the story in the tournament, and obviously bouncing Coach K and all that. But I mean,
that was insane.
Yeah, they had the ACC had two Final Four teams. But I mean, Duke controlled the regular season, and that's what we were betting on. So, that was pretty easy. Next one was the SEC. This was probably my best pick of the year, honestly, of the whole entire college basketball, NFL, everything. I had Auburn at plus 600. Keep in mind, this is like early in college basketball, so conference play hadn't really started yet. So I had Auburn at plus 600. My reasoning was I just didn't want to take Kentucky.
Yeah,
because it's just Kentucky was a square pick. And then I hated Bama early in the year. I hated them right here. It says Bama sucks. I have it on there, and they had a bad year.
I was so high on them during this episode last time, and now looking back, I'm like, dude, this guy's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, they had a terrible year. They really did.
I thought the thing is, I always think guard play. I know
it is.
College is going to lead you so far, but
really is.
Davidson did not do much for him.
No.
And I mean, you got him at plus 650. You took Auburn, which is insane.
Yeah, 600.
That's an unbelievable pick. I took Bama at plus 300, and then I have Kentucky next to it at plus 320. But like you said, that was the squares pick because they were super hot. Only had a couple losses the time that we did this episode. But props to you for that pick. Jabari really took off.
I know.
Walker Kessler just.
I know. I have it right here. I mean, I wrote it down. I put Jabari Smith down.
Just so you guys know, we're using the papers that we had.
Same exact paper.
I literally just pulled them out from the first episode. So.
I mean, I have it down here. Jabari Smith. I had Wendell Green on there, who turned out to be a dog for them. I mean, he was just a beast. Shout out Detroit. And then Walker Kessler, who was a beast. I mean, he averaged like 5 blocks last year. So
we said Pearl. He's that coach that lets the ball roll out, and if your guys get hot, then
I know it worked out.
Can get hot.
And I mean, it did work out for him too. That Jabari Smith was just the best player in the country. So at least or one of them.
I mean, I think by far, but
yeah, he was a beast all year. That was my best pick for sure. Cashing them at plus 600. The Big 12, which was fantastic all year. You had Texas Tech in there. You had Texas, Baylor, Kansas. I had Baylor. You had Baylor too, right?
Yeah, I took Baylor.
Yeah. At plus 170, they shared the title with Kansas. Obviously, Kansas went on to be the eventual national champion. What a great run by them. Fuck Bill Self. I still hate him. But I like the players on that team. I like Abaji. I like some of the other guys, Christian Brown.
They had a lot of NBA talent, which I was kind of surprised because going into this season, they weren't a team that you were looking at that was going to have a lot of players that were going to be drafted. Like Christian Brown was not expected to be a late first-round or second-round pick. Abaji had an incredible year. So shout out to that team, definitely. But I also took Baylor, which I kind of thought was a safe pick. and it ended up panning out for us. I said I have it written down USC because at the time USC was, I think they had like 1 loss or 2 losses and were the top team in the Pac-12 or this is Pac-12, sorry, Big 12, back to Big 12, but we'll talk about that after.
Yeah, I mean Baylor, it was close. We got unlucky. I mean they weren't healthy really from January on. They were missing one of the big 3, Akinjo, Flagler, Cryer. I mean they were missing one of those guys almost the entire year and even into the tournament. So, I mean, they made that run. That game against Carolina in the tournament was insane when they were down 25, forced it to OT. I mean, I still think if they stayed healthy, they would have won the national championship. I really do. They would have won 2 in a row, I think. But it's a shame. But we cashed those plus 172. Pac-12. I took Arizona at plus 150. That also cashed.
That's a great bet.
I mean, Ben Mathurin was one of the best players in the country. Arizona was number 1 in the country at points. I mean, they just had a great had a great year. Yeah, it all came together.
And with that program especially, they really just dish out a lot of scores and just like a powerhouse offense.
Yeah,
that can really get the ball down quick, down in transition and score. And I just wish that started to translate more into the tournament because they haven't had much success recently in the last 5-6 years where they come in being the number 1 team in offense in the country, offensive efficiency, having that number 1 overall ranking. And hopefully they're able to turn it around with guys like Mathurin. Those type of players really need to show up in the tournament. And hopefully they can finally win one for the state of Arizona. I took UCLA at plus 145, and I'm super upset about it because I knew this team was one of just the biggest flukes. Johnny Juzang, he's a player that incredible talent, but had an incredible March and really put his.
I think we talked about it on the first.
Yeah,
I
think we did too, and I ended up biting at that plus 145 because I saw the plus money and where they were at the time. But I think Juzang's one guy that's like a. He's like a Mitch McGarry. Like
what an idiot.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
You got to go when your
have
stock's
to go.
high.
Well, I mean, I remember that was one of the first things that just like in casual conversation with like other people too. Like, if you have that kind of run, you have to go.
There's no question.
And he did it. And look, I mean, he was a lottery pick.
Yeah,
he went undrafted this year. So I mean,
now he signed a summer league deal with Utah. Which,
yeah.
I mean, I hope it pans. Actually, I don't hope it pans out. He fucking sucks. Jaime Jaquez probably has a better chance of impact in the league. But yeah, I took them at plus 145. Also at the time, USC had some of the best odds to win the conference, only with 1 or 2 losses on the season. But I said that at this time, COVID was a big issue with that team.
It was.
So it ended up being an issue with that team, and they just did not finish the season as hot as they would have liked to because of these players missing practices, games, and all that plays a factor during the season. So I'm glad that we put that on the table in the last episode, and hopefully no one took that bet and bid at that USC line. So yeah, I guess we can just dive into the Natty, right?
Yeah. I mean, just finishing out the Pac-12. I mean, USC made some noise. They won some big games. They beat UCLA at home. I don't know if they beat Arizona, but I mean, they definitely could have made a run at it if they stayed healthy. But UCLA and USC, I mean, with just the California regulations too, and obviously COVID at that time, like they had 2-3 weeks off at a time.
So 100%, yeah.
That could really derail them. Natty sleepers. My first one was Baylor at plus 1,200. Like I said, I still stand by it. I think they would have won the national championship if the 3 guards stay healthy. Because I mean, like we said, it's guard play, especially down the stretch in the tournament. It's guard play, and they had the three best not the 3 best guards, but as a whole, the best like guard play.
Yeah, they have one of the best backcourts in the country.
Yeah. I also had Texas at plus 2,200. I remember we talked about that. This was this was an actual sleeper pick because they hadn't put it together. We were saying we had never seen transfers like we saw last year, and they just never ended up putting it together.
You know how many people in their brackets? Texas making a run. That was their team. Texas, they're gonna make a run, which is crazy to think about because like you said, at this time they were not. They were a non-factor.
Yeah, and I mean they had talent. They just like we said, it was the first time we had seen like all transfers come in 1 year and like try to put something together, and it never happened for them. So That was my second one. My third one was Houston. I love the Cougs. I still love the Cougs. I had them at plus 2,500. They made a great run.
Which you can't even be mad about that at those odds. Because when you're taking something at plus 2,500, you're not expecting them to make a run like that either. So
I was high on them. I think
injuries also played a factor with them too.
I mean, we lost 2 starting guards, and they still went to the Elite
And like
Eight.
you said, guard play. When you lose 2 starting guards in the in the March Madness tournament, that takes a huge toll on your teams because leadership's out the window. Who's handling the ball in crunch time? That's a big factor. So those are 2 just big essential parts of the game that are just taken away.
Yeah. I mean, looking ahead, I gave this out a couple months ago. I'd said take Houston at plus 2,000, 20-1. I said to take them. Sasser's coming back. Edwards is coming back. They got the bigs coming back. They're the favorite right now to win next year, plus 900. So
really?
I mean,
I haven't looked. Yeah, I haven't even looked at it.
From 2 months ago to now, they've dropped from plus 2,000 to plus 900. So
that's incredible.
Yeah, I love the Cougs. They're going to be the team next year too. But I mean, they ran into Villanova, and Villanova was Villanova all year.
They don't make mistakes in the tournament.
Yeah, that team was they were incredible to watch. Highest free throw shooting percentage ever, which free throw shooting is so discounted, especially with the NBA and stuff. But in college,
I was just gonna say I'm gonna do. This is for the this is a futures episode. I'm saying what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look at teams with the highest free throw shooting percentage, because I think it was the last 3 tournaments. The team with the highest percentage was in the Final Four every year. Because if you miss 7 free throws, that's 7 points left on the table.
Huge.
And every game's going down to 3-4 points.
It's huge.
So if you can shoot as a team 80%, that changes everything. So yeah, that's literally Villanova in a nutshell. Not making mistakes, being experienced, having the best coach, one of the best coaches in college basketball ever. I mean, he's hung up his hat, but Jay Wright was unbelievable and had an unbelievable career, and you can see it through that program elevating and the way that they approach the game and really prepare and just don't make mistakes, like I said before.
Went out the right way too.
Yeah,
didn't have a farewell tour like Coach K.
This is such a shot at Coach K.
I mean, listen, whatever, they lost. So. But he went out the right way, in my opinion. He was a beast. He went out on top. I mean, just unparalleled success with Villanova the past decade. I mean, they were incredible. What were your sleepers?
Yeah, so I have a starred big payout because I was extremely, extremely high on this team going into the tournament because they were one of the hottest teams in college basketball. I had LSU at plus 4,000, which is one of the toughest beats ever.
Yeah.
So when we recorded this podcast, LSU was undefeated. They had the number 1 defense in the country.
Yep.
But they had a few tough tests coming up, one against Auburn and one against Penn State. And this team just kind of started to fall apart towards the end of the season. And that's what you get when you have a big payout bet, a big sleeper. You're just kind of rolling the dice to hope that they keep playing the way that they're playing. And that wasn't the case. They still rebounded at a high level, still played great defensively, but defense not always is the case in the tournament. You have to eventually start putting the ball in the bucket, and that's just what this team could not do down the stretch. So that was my big payout. I don't know if you have anything to add about that.
Just the wheels fell off the wagon. I mean, Will Wade got fired before the tournament. It was just a tough scene down the stretch with them.
And I also took for my safe pick. I took Baylor just like you. I had him at plus 1,200.
Yep.
Because I thought Cryer, Brown, SoCan, that team could definitely make a run. And I still think they could have made a run.
Oh, yeah.
Just like you say, there's obstacles going into the tournament. You do not know who's going to win it.
No.
I mean, sometimes stars align. Like that Duke team, stars kind of align for them to be in the Final Four. And look at what happened. North Carolina knocked them off in the Final Four game, which no one expected as they were the underdogs coming in. Because you're playing a team that has their coach's final game potentially, rivalry game. You think, how is this team ever going to lose? And it's March. It happens.
Yeah, and Carolina was playing unreal ball. But, like you said, the tournament, the ball's got to go your way, too. I mean, obviously it helps to have talent, but you got to get bounces, too, especially throughout the run.
Right.
So
no, I agree.
Anything else about college?
Nothing. It was a awesome year.
Yeah, it was.
Michigan State was a roller coaster.
Yeah.
This next year is going to be interesting because there's a lot of players coming back, and I think a lot of teams can make a run. Like you said, that Houston team could definitely make a run.
Yeah.
I think the Big Ten is a little lighter this year than it was the year prior.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of players went to the draft that are essential to their team.
Yep.
Michigan State gonna kind of be a non-factor this year, and I think that they're in a state. I mean, we're talking Michigan State basketball because let's be honest, we're Spartans, so we gotta talk about it. But I think that program is in the middle of the beginning of a transition period of what direction they want to go in, whether it's you want to start looking at players in the transfer portal, and I think that starts with looking at Tom Izzo and seeing what they want to do with him in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still a lot of teams that can still make a big splash next year. I think UNC is another one with Caleb Love coming back.
Yeah, I mean, they have everyone.
Baycott coming back. So I think that team could get hot and make a run again. And they got guard play that can put the ball in the basket in March. So that's my favorite coming into this next season. I don't know. You can go ahead. I'd love to hear yours.
Well, I love Houston, like I said, next year. But I agree with Carolina's different than UCLA, like in terms of being able to repeat that run. Because Carolina has always had that talent. They just had to put it together, and I think down the stretch this year we saw it. They figured it out.
Well, and they have an incredible head coach.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think that, like we said when we said earlier, I don't think UCLA is going to repeat their run, and they didn't at all. I mean, we saw it happen. I think UNC has a legitimate shot to make it back.
No, I agree, and I haven't looked at their odds, but I'm sure they're probably
they're like plus 950, the same as Houston. Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah, UNC and Houston are the two favorites.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you can get that now, take one of those plus 950.
Yeah.
And just kind of ride with it.
Carolina's. I mean, they got everyone coming back, and they added Pete Nance from Northwestern.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So I mean, they're going to be good. They're going to be a fun team to watch. I love college basketball.
Yeah, it's the best, and you also just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Michigan State could be no, I'm just kidding. They're not going to be a
the
top
Big
five
Ten.
team.
The Big Ten's going to stink. I think it is.
Hey, maybe this is the year that they stink during the regular season, and then they come into March and just tear it up.
So possible.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah, but that does it for college. We cashed a good amount in college. Cashed a few. But now let's get into a little bread and butter.
This is our favorite because it's going to get real chippy in this bitch. I'll tell you that right now.
So NBA. We did conference winners. We did title winner, rookie of the year, MVP, defensive player of the year. To win the West, I took the Warriors at plus 270. That cashed, obviously. I don't want to talk about the Warriors as much.
Let's talk about them. Let's talk about them when we talk about the title. To win the West, I took Phoenix.
Let's get into that.
We can talk about Phoenix to start, because I just have
a collapse.
I have a lot to say about this team.
It's over.
Yeah, this was a literally 2-year blurb of a team that looked like a young team that could run the NBA for the next 6 years. Mm-hmm. And just like that, this can all change with DeAndre Ayton potentially leaving this team and signing a max contract with potentially the Pistons. I know the Mavericks were looking at him. Mm-hmm. Memphis was also looking at him. So with him leaving, that gets rid of their inside young presence that's only about 23 years old.
Right.
A CP3, a leader, and
choke artist.
A leader. I just love CP3 because I just grew up watching him. But I mean, I still got a Hornet CP3 jersey in my room. But
we're gonna need a fact check on that.
Leader who his age is starting to hit him because he cannot perform in the playoffs, and it's been.
He can, but he doesn't.
He doesn't.
He gets hurt, which I think he might be getting. Like I'm not saying that he's faking injuries, but he gets hurt every playoff run.
Yeah, and then lastly. Devin Booker had an MVP type season, top 5 in MVP voting. Mm-hmm. Incredible regular season.
Yeah.
But he showed in the playoffs that he's not ready yet to take over a team.
I don't think so either.
And let them let himself put it on his back to win a playoff game. So I think that still takes time. He's like similar to Jason Tatum of how the big moments, they're clutch players, and you see Devin Booker's a clutch player and is gonna be one of the best players in the NBA in the next 5-6 years. But he's still not ready. And with this help leaving, I don't know what's up for his future as well. So those are your 3 best players that have the biggest question mark in the next year free agency to the next year after that. So we'll see what happens with them. And I'm really, really disappointed because I thought this was an extremely safe pick in a Western Conference that was extremely, extremely winnable this year.
What were those
I don't have the conference odds. I had him winning the title at plus 800.
Okay.
So the conference odds had to be a little lower. I think they're probably like plus 350.
Yeah, I'd say probably around that. That's a good guess. Suns disappointing. I mean, they really were. The way that they went out too was just insane. I mean,
kind of embarrassing.
I mean, you got Game 7 at home, and they were down 50 at one point.
They started off They started off hot.
Yeah.
And then Golden State just turned on the Jets like that, and it was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Luka in that series against the Suns was just incredible. Just incredible.
Yeah. And we can go to let's hit the East now, huh?
Yeah, we can do that. I mean, I just want to touch on the Suns really quick. I think it's over for them. It is. Because there is, off the top of my head, there's 4 teams that are better than them in the West now. Warriors, Clippers.
Yeah, with a healthy Kawhi and with John Wall. That team could be deadly.
I think they can win next year.
With John Wall coming back and if Kawhi – I was thinking about it – sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
I was thinking about it today. Everyone writes – because you get so many texts in group chats like top 5 players in the league, top 10 players in the league. And everyone always forgets about Kawhi because he's always injured.
Yep.
But then he plays healthy. You're like, is Kawhi the best player in the NBA?
Best player in the world.
He's the best defender in the NBA. Is he the best player in the NBA? Maybe. Yep. So that team could make a huge splash next year, and I like their odds. Mm-hmm. But yeah, continue with the other ones.
Warriors, Clippers, Grizzlies.
Yeah.
And Mavericks.
Yeah. Mavericks need another piece though, but
I mean they got Christian Wood and they beat Phoenix they beat Phoenix in the playoffs.
That's true. That's because Luka Doncic is
right.
Yeah,
and he's only gonna get better.
Oh, did you see the off-season picture of him?
No.
I'll show you after this. You saw him the last off-season.
Yeah.
He's a little beefy. Like he's been hitting the clubs like over in Slovenia.
Yeah,
for sure.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, the Eastern European woman.
Come on.
But this one, dude, he looks fit. Like he looks dangerous. So that he could be insane next year. That's my favorite to win the MVP next year.
But I mean, there's 4 teams off the top of my head better than them.
Yeah, and they're getting worse because I think Aiden's gone.
Right. Even if he does stay, Chris Paul is another year older. Mm-hmm. You know, like
Booker's gonna get better, but
I mean, but
yeah, still
he's not like a Luka type player to like carry a team.
No, because you can't carry a team if you can only score 25, 26 a game. That's not carrying a team. That's just being an elite scorer. That's like Bradley Beal. He does that every night. And look at the Wizards. They suck.
I know. It was really a shame because I think that Phoenix would have gave Golden State a good series in the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they would have beat them, but
I agree too.
Just going out the way they did. Dallas won that game I think they won by 30 plus for sure, but Phoenix was down 45 plus at one point. I know that for a fact. In Game 7 at home, so
that just can't happen if you're a title contender. No, and if you're the franchise of the NBA, the face of the NBA.
Yeah, I mean they had their shot. They went to a finals, got up 2-0.
You think last year was their one chance?
Yes.
Like, did you think that last year?
Yes.
When they were there, you're like, this is the only chance they're gonna have.
Yeah, okay. I said that when not the Suns, more Chris Paul. When they lost, I'm like, Chris Paul's never gonna win a ring. And I still think he's never going to win.
It's just crazy that he just can't show up in the playoffs.
I know. And, like, when we saw it, like, in that Dallas series, he did it a couple times. When he takes over a game, it looks like a grown man playing against 8th graders.
Yeah, he'll go 15 for 15 from the free throw line fadeaway right at the elbow.
Like, faking everyone out. Nobody knows what to do. He makes everything. I just don't understand where that goes.
I don't know. It might be mental. It might be this like alternative like switches on defense that they make in the fourth quarter in the second half. I don't know, but if you are, because he is a top 3 point guard, top 5 point. I'll put him top 5
all time. Yeah,
I
agree with that.
Top
sure.
5 with Steph's now number 1. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we can get it.
But if you're like that, he doesn't have that dog in him. I think that's what's the difference. Like he does not have that dog in him.
I think he's at this level, and there's very few guys that can go up here, and he can't go up one more.
It's like Isaiah Thomas, like takes over it, like back in the day, taking over a game like that. You can get to that level. He just doesn't have it. That's a good way to put it.
I don't know, but I mean they're done. They're gonna blow it up, which stinks.
That's sad because I love that team.
Yeah,
And
I do too.
They have the sickest jerseys in the NBA.
Yeah, that's facts. I love Aiden too. God, I wish he was coming here. Maybe he will. Not this year, but eventually.
We'll round off with a little bit of Pistons after.
Okay, going on to the East. I took the Nets at plus 130. They were plus 130 at the time. Tough scene. God, man. I mean, tough. Talk about a team that just never, ever put it together. Kyrie didn't play. Well, I don't think, what was it, until like March? They let him come back full time?
Durant was injured.
Yeah, Durant got hurt. James Harden got hurt. Then he left.
That's one of the... Yeah, he literally left during the season. Yeah, that was at the time because I remember talking about it on the last podcast. I said at this Futures episode, I said the big factor is going to be how James Harden, if he wants to play in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. He didn't want to play in Brooklyn. He went to the Sixers and just put it all together with that team, which is a great fit for him. And they got a bag of chips, which is Ben Simmons, by the way. He's literally a bag of chips because he does not play. He doesn't know how to play basketball anymore. So that's just a tough beat for you for that pick because that one's not even your fault. It's just injuries and circumstances and guys that just aren't bought into a system. And if you don't buy into your organization's system, you'll never win a title. That was the problem. That's the problem with this Nets team right now.
I'm really curious to see what happens with them. I mean, Kyrie's coming back. KD's coming back.
They just need to put all the drama, the BS away, and stay healthy.
Okay, can Ben Simmons be an actual factor
on that team? Yeah.
I think so, too.
I think he's a great fit. He doesn't need the ball in his hands.
No.
You got two guys.
He doesn't want the ball in his hands.
Which is fine because those two want the ball in their hands. They still got a great team. They still got Seth Curry. They have Claxton down low. He's a good player.
Joe Harris coming back next year.
Joe Harris is coming back as a great shooter. So they have the pieces around him, and they have two of the best. They have the best. I can't say that anymore, but they have.
He's not. He. I know. Yes.
Because at halfway when we made this episode, he was the best player in the world. But things change. But they have one of the best NBA players in the world.
He's top 3.
Yeah, one of the best NBA players ever. One of the best scorers ever. Next to a guard that can fill it up and find you at the same time.
Top 3 guards.
Right. Who doesn't need the ball every possession. So with those two and then the pieces around them, they can definitely still make a run. They just got to buy in.
Yes.
That's it.
Who'd you have?
I took the Heat.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's another bad beat.
That's right.
Inches.
Yeah.
I took the Heat at plus 550 to win the East. And it's funny, you know what was the big factor for me for taking them, which I have written down, and I remember saying this. I was like, Kyle Lowry is going to be the biggest factor for this team.
Stinks.
Now he stinks.
Fuck Kyle Lowry. I hate that guy.
So we can push that away. Kyle Lowry was not a factor at all in that playoff.
No, I mean, he stinks.
Yeah. But that team's really exciting because I think you can put a lot of pieces into that team, like different types of players.
I want to see Spida go there.
I was just gonna say Donovan Mitchell would look great in a Heat jersey. He would tear it up with the clubs out there.
Oh my god!
And he fits in with the Heat culture.
That's a big factor.
Yeah, you got it.
Tearing it up.
Yes. Look at Tyler Hero. Had a great year.
Jimmy Butler too. You know he tears.
They
it
probably
up.
found their club they go to, comfortable after a game.
Yeah.
Found a Cuban down there. They're chilling.
Oh my god! Yeah, I mean that was tough. They just ran out of gas. Yeah. Jimmy Butler always has to do it on his own. And
dude, he's an incredible basketball player.
Oh my god! And when people are giving him all that stuff for taking that shot, he's the guy that got them there. He's the one who should take that shot.
That's so stupid because if he hits that,
oh my god! Everyone's like,
it's a great shot.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you take that? You know what I mean?
He was wide open.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know that Heat team. They had an incredible run, and I was a little nervous going into the playoffs because they had that 1 seed. So I was like, maybe they were a little overrated and overseeded, and they wouldn't perform as well as they did in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But everyone came to play. Bam came to play. Showed that he is worth that max contract. Yeah, I mean,
sometimes he came to play.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, no, Jimmy Butler was putting up 40 points. Like 8 assists, 10 rebounds, locking up every second on defense.
They just need a real guard.
Yeah, they need a 2.
Yeah.
They need a guy. They need a guard that Jimmy Butler can take a little load off his shoulders, and I think
they need more of a ball handler.
Victor Oladipo was not it this year.
No.
He also wasn't extremely healthy, but they need like a Donovan Mitchell. I would say.
I mean the East is wide open.
100%.
I mean, unless Brooklyn comes out and is just
like we said, we were
on
talking
another
about,
level.
We were talking about earlier, Atlanta too. They can make a run now.
East is wide open.
Yeah.
But the Celtics ended up winning it. At the time that we recorded, They were plus 2,500. Like I said, we recorded, I think, December 22nd or something like that. They were plus 2,500 to win the East. Not even to win the title, to win the East. After January 1st, Pete, they went 34-12.
After January 1st?
Yeah.
You want to know why? Not why, but I'm with you on that because I was looking at also after post All-Star break too. Jason Tatum averaged 35 points a game in January, and just put the ball in the basket.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, and when your best player is scoring like that and leading the team, I think everything just follows.
Yeah, since January 1st,
34.
From January 1st to April, like 20 something, this NBA season ends. They went 34-12.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about defense.
Yes.
Robert Williams established himself as
we can skip over the title and go into Defensive Player of the Year from that. But keep going.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it
was all about defense.
It was all about defense. I have some stuff written down. They had the best defensive efficiency in the league after the All-Star break. Robert Williams was the best defender inside the paint after the All-Star break. Opponents were shooting, I think, 36% a game, which transforms the entire game because when you have a rim protector like that, people are a little hesitant to go to the basket. When they see Williams down there. So that changes the spacing and changes the offensive scheme for the opposing team. So I think when a team's playing like that on defense, it completely changes the game.
Yeah.
Especially during the regular season when defense is not as big of a factor as it is.
I said it in the NBA draft episode that we just did, and I'll say it again. Whatever he is at for Defensive Player of the Year next year, I'm hammering it.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Whatever he's at. He's unreal.
He's another max contract guy, and he wasn't even healthy.
No.
He wasn't even healthy.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's gonna have a summer to rehab, get right.
That's my favorite bet. You throw that in a parlay, Rob Williams 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Minus
oh
like
my God,
minus 175 every
free.
time. Yeah, you
free every time. So yeah, it was all about defense. They went 34-12 after the All-Star break. They swept Brooklyn. I mean, surprisingly, they swept Brooklyn.
Embarrassed them.
Yeah, and
with
then
both of those guys, they're healthy. I mean, KD was. We'll say he's healthy because they always make excuses that you're not healthy, but he was healthy.
No, yeah, they were healthy, and they just never looked back. They beat Milwaukee down 3-2. They won 2 straight
without Chris Middleton.
Yes, very important point. And then they beat Miami.
Yeah.
Impressive run.
Yeah,
it was.
You know what's great?
I think they ran out of gas, but
think so too.
Also Jason Tatum did not play well in the finals.
I don't think he's. I think he's it. I think he's legit, but I still think he doesn't have that like.
Jaylen Brown has more dog.
That's what I was.
He's got more.
Way more dog.
He's got more dog.
So much more dog.
Yeah.
If I'm giving someone the ball in the fourth quarter, go get me a bucket between the two. I'm giving it to Jaylen Brown
every time
because he just puts it. He's a clutch player.
He's got more dog. He does.
I think Jason Tatum's still has a higher ceiling and is a better like talent. But I think sometimes
I agree with that.
I think in the playoffs you gotta have that dog in you. So
yeah. So let's just transition real quick into Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I had Giannis at plus 750. I think that was the lowest he got. He just never was close. Still the best player on the planet, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I think it's.
Yeah. Who'd you have?
I took Draymond at plus 135.
Tough. We were talking about that. He hovered around that all year, pretty much. And then the Celtics went 34-12.
They just got hot.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it at the time of this podcast last time. Theo found this.
Yeah.
Credit to him. But Marcus Smart was at plus 9,000.
Yeah, plus 9,000.
To win the depoy. And it just plays a factor when your team wins in the second half and plays defense the way that they do and you have the best defense in the league. If it all revolves around one player, and that's Marcus Smart, your leader on defense, you're going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. I mean, the way that he plays, people hate on him, but
I think it's different than like Pat Bev the way he
plays.
It
is 100%. It is
because he's not just playing like chippy defense or chip on my shoulder defense. I'm an undersized guard. He literally, if you watch videos of him on Instagram, he has tactics on defense. He's saying, okay, when the person you're guarding is dribbling the basketball, don't go for it when it's up high. When the ball is vulnerable in the air, that's when you tap. That's when you put your hand in and try to tap it. So he has an art to the way he plays defense, like a Gary Payton-esque, and I think that's a huge factor.
Yeah.
Of why he won.
Right. I mean, yeah, he was plus 9,000 at the time and won it. It's important to note every single starter on the Celtics got a All-NBA
that's an incredible
defensive
stat.
team vote. Yeah.
Which is crazy. Even Tatum got one.
Yeah.
That team's going to be something next year, hopefully.
I think they will be.
I hope. That East
I think this was their good. I think this was probably one of their better shots that they're going to have.
I agree. It's not easy to get to the finals.
No, it's hard. Especially now there's so much talent everywhere.
Yeah.
There just is.
Yeah.
So I mean,
well, with Depoy, why don't we roll into Rookie of the Year?
Okay. Yeah. Rookie of the Year. Questionable. God, this is so questionable.
So I saw. Let me say a stat before this, just to put this. Let me put this Rookie of the Year vote or race in perspective for you. This is the smallest gap in voting, and it was 15 votes deciding in the last 20 years of Rookie of the Year. So that's how close this race was. So just think about that while we're talking about this, and go right ahead, Theo.
Yeah, that's a great point. I had Cade plus 250. I still think he should have won it. He was the most impactful rookie on his team. Evan Mobley was impactful. Scotty Barnes was impactful. But this, especially down the stretch, second half of the year, Cade was the best rookie by far.
Yeah, he put it all together. He was one of the best guards in the league at the time.
Yes. And
this isn't biased talking Pistons fans.
No,
this is just based on pure analytics.
Because I like Mobley and Barnes. I think both of them are incredible. But we talked about it this year. The bias does come into it with this point. But Rookie of the Year should not be looked at like MVP.
It should not.
Wins should not be a factor. It should be
playoff appearances shouldn't be a factor.
The best rookie
statistically
in the NBA.
Yeah.
And Cade was doing. I mean, how many games did Cade have down the stretch where it was like
27?
Only rookie since Michael Jordan to do this.
Yeah.
Like, he had a few of those type games.
He was having 25-point games like it was his job at the end of the season because he put everything together and he was comfortable in the league. It doesn't make sense to me for your team to be a playoff team and to have more wins than the other team's rookie or the other team that the rookie's on because you're getting drafted to teams that have the worst records in the league.
Exactly.
One guy cannot change a franchise in 1 year.
Exactly.
It's impossible. It's a process. And
especially a 19-year-old.
100%. So I think that's just unfair, and I think that is something that needs to be addressed in the voting process. So with that said, my bet did hit. I took Scotty Barnes at plus 300, and this was one that I was pretty high on, and I thought, let's get it now because I think Scotty has a factor because I knew that the voters put into factor winning. And the Toronto Raptors had a playoff. They made the playoffs. And Scotty Barnes was, I think, 15th in the league in rebounds, averaged 15 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal. And he was guarding the opposing team's best player every game.
Yeah.
Guarding Kevin Durant he was also only 19 years old. So locking them down day in and day out, that was huge. And I also think what played a large factor was Scotty Barnes played in every single Raptors game this year. So I think the durability of the season and him being able to do that every single game might have played a factor in the voting. I also believe that Cade should have won it. Granted, my pick didn't say that because I was using more of my head than my heart. But now with my head, I think that he should have.
Yeah, Cade didn't turn it around until after this either.
No, 100%. That's
fair.
True. Yeah.
Mobley at this time was
minus.
Minus 125. He closed as the favorite, but Barnes won it.
That was a surprise to everyone, though.
I personally, outside of Cade, I think Cade should have won it. His odds were just never there. I think Mobley was the more appropriate choice over Scotty.
I agree. Yeah, because he did it all the entire season.
Yeah, and he was a huge impact for them. All three of these guys.
He won the skills challenge, too.
That's true. All three of these guys are going to be good, though.
Yeah, like we said in the last episode, the NBA is in incredible hands.
Yeah, but I said this, Scotty Barnes, I think I said this on Twitter. You can hold that Rookie of the Year, that's fine, because Cade's going to win MVP, and you're not. So.
And the Pistons will win the title before the Raptors will win again. So that's facts as well.
Yep. I think Cade is the only guy out of this class that can win an MVP.
Yeah, he's the only guy I think that can transform an entire NBA team.
Yep.
by himself.
I know. Mobley and Barnes.
You're not building around.
They
Evan
had
Mobley.
all-stars on their teams.
No franchise is building around Evan Mobley or Scotty Barnes. Those are pieces you add to stars. You can build around Cade.
I agree.
That's such bullshit. The more I talk about
it,
I know.
It
makes
me
so mad.
I know.
You know what's funny though? He said, he wasn't even like pissed off about it.
No, it's because he knows.
He doesn't give a fuck. He's looking down the long run. He's like, I want to win a ring.
He dude. He knows he's the best player.
Yeah.
We can close out with MVP.
Yeah, final award that we picked.
Oh God, this was bad.
These are just bad beats. We'll talk about this.
Yeah, I took Curry at plus 130. He was unreal at this time. I mean, he was lighting it up. I mean, you could tell by the odds. It was December, and he was almost even money to win MVP.
But no one thought he was stopping because the way he was playing was like
nobody was stopping.
It was like 2016 the way every time he shot the basketball, you thought it was going in.
Yep.
I took at this time Kevin Durant plus 275.
Yep.
So.
Which I thought was a good bet,
mm-hmm.
and then both of them got hurt.
And that was that.
That was it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was it.
And then Jokic ended up winning at plus 1250.
He was 1250 at the time we recorded.
I was talking to him about this before. Jokic is the first player in NBA history, sixth player in NBA history. Sorry, to lead your team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. Which, when you say that out loud, and this was a no doubt,
it's crazy,
slam dunk, back-to-back MVP winner. A lot of people said Joel Embiid, but I think that the fact that they went 48 and 34 without Jamal Murray. So it was
without anyone.
No, literally no one. So it was literally Nikola Jokic, and he still led his team to a winning record and a playoff team. So I think that was a great choice by the voters. Obviously it was tough for us because we had those injuries playing factors. So
I think Embiid had a fantastic year too. He did. I know both of our opinions got swayed on Embiid because the year before this year, Embiid talked a lot of jaw. He talked about why he should be this guy. And this year he didn't. He shut up and he balled, and he was up there for MVP for a reason.
I think he grew up a lot.
Yeah, my opinion changed a lot on Embiid. I have a lot of respect for him, and he's incredible. I mean, he's literally 7-1.
And I think now he's mature enough to lead a team to a championship.
Yes.
And I think he's a guy that can do it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you put a playmaker like James Harden next to him that can take a little of the scoring load off of him as well, but doesn't mind not having the ball in his hands and put some pieces around them, that's a team that could make a run in the playoffs and make a run at the title next season.
I think they could too.
Yeah.
So, the title. I took the Warriors plus 600.
Son of a bitch.
Cash it.
That's awesome.
You guys,
that's a sweet hit.
In the NBA Finals episode I put out, I told you guys to take the Warriors to win the series minus 160.
Didn't you took at the beginning of the playoffs, you took Warriors Celtics Finals, right?
I did.
That's a sweet pick too.
I did, yeah.
What was that at?
I mixed and matched those. That was like plus 780 or something.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah. The futures have been my moneymaker. They've been good. I told you guys to take them in that NBA Finals episode. That cashed. I told you guys to take them to win in 6 or 7 games. They won in 6. Them to win in 6 games was plus 500. That cashed. So, I mean, I gave you guys incredible value on this team, and they did it. I mean, they did it. It was really, really.
I took Phoenix plus 800, by the way, but we already talked about that, so now we can finally talk about Golden State because we got a lot to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, one of the more incredible teams
dynasties
I can remember, because I was talking about this with Theotaki the other. Shout out Theotaki, by the way. But he's right. They've won 4 different ways.
All right, let's go through
in
them.
8 years.
Let's go through them.
So the first year was just the Splash Brothers, Steph and Clay. They had older guys like Iguodala, Sean Livingston, putting those pieces together. 3 different ways, I guess. But they've won. They've reinvented themselves and won 3 different ways. So they had that year. Curry was incredible. Then KD came in. I mean, he was the best player on the planet at that time, arguably still one of the best today.
Right.
And then they won the 2 in a row. Then they have play-in year, worst record in the league, and then win a title.
That's incredible. thinking about it now.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Clay.
They had the number 1 pick.
Yeah, Clay got hurt. He came back, wasn't 100%. Everyone gave Draymond a lot of shit. I said it in the NBA Finals episode, and I'll say it again. Draymond is one of those guys that, like, it's so easy to hate on his game, but when you really look at it,
he changes an entire team.
Yeah, he does. This is what you were talking about earlier. It's the system, and their system is so foolproof that, like, that's why they win.
They've perfected it, and that you can plug in anyone into that system, and the player buys in. It starts with Bob Myers building that team, drafting these guys. Probably the best. I was texting you about this earlier because we were talking about Troy Weaver, and I said Bob Myers is still the best GM in basketball.
I agree.
So it starts with them, but obviously it starts with the players on the court, and with that, it all revolves around Steph Curry because he's established himself as a top 10 player ever. In my opinion, he's the best point guard of all time.
I agree with that.
I think he passed Magic Johnson because he's won in so many different ways. He's the best shooter of all time. And I think he is the best leader right now in the NBA. And I say this because you don't see things on the court. I was watching an interview with Draymond, and he was talking about Game 4 when it was in Boston, and Draymond was
incredible performance.
Yeah. Draymond was really, really struggling in that game, and he admitted it for the first time. He said, Boston, the fans got in my head. That's what gained a lot of respect. The fans actually got in my head. But he said what Steph Curry did that day, I've never seen him do, showed me that he's the best leader I've ever seen. He hit a shot and started going at every single fan in the Garden to put all the direction on him to get Draymond back in the game and take all the load off of him for all the pressure from the fans. So things like that separate great leaders, separates players and makes them great leaders to like championship type players.
Yeah.
And so that this team had that, and we can talk about the role players too if you want to go into that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like everything came together. Like I said, like they've reinvented themselves and won in all these different ways. Like they've gotten it done, and they've won 4 titles in 8 years, which is incredible. Like it's so hard to do.
Is this the best dynasty you think? I mean, one of the best NBA dynasties in basketball?
Yeah.
The best or?
Ever?
Yeah.
No. Not the best dynasty ever. I think that whatever year it was, 16, 17.
Best team.
I think that's the best NBA team ever.
I agree. We got a little side.
Yeah, I don't think it's the best dynasty ever just because of like the gaps. And I mean, they just got unlucky too with injuries.
Right.
I mean, they're one of the best. It's just, I mean, it's important to note too, like, Steph has won 4 titles in 8 years, and, like, this is the LeBron James era of the NBA. And, like, when you look at the Michael Jordan era, like, there's so many guys who didn't win. But Steph has 4 in LeBron's era.
That's a lot of rings.
It's a lot.
And those are his rings. It's not like he was just a sidekick or something. Like
the KD one, I mean,
he still earned it.
He wasn't a sidekick, but that's what also makes him like so different is that like he was unanimous MVP, first and only ever, and then you got to take a back seat because you bring KD in.
Because he's so mature.
Not a lot of people.
That's what I'm saying. The leadership of this team and organization is the foundation of why. That's what teams have to do. For people to buy in, you have to have that leadership.
Yeah. And they did. And, I mean, it helps, too. They got Steve Kerr, who's probably the best. I mean, he's top 3.
He's got 9 rings.
Yeah, he's top 3 coaches in the NBA.
I think it's a factor. I'll just dive into a couple, like, the role players, too, that make it a difference. I'm considering Clay a role player in this sense because he was coming off an injury. And still, there's a lot of questions going into the finals, how he's going to perform. Hadn't been performing exactly the way you thought he would be, but did what he needed to do, put up 19, 20 points when he needed to do that, took some of the load off Steph Curry, so did what he did in the finals. Jordan Poole, to start off, was not much of a factor in Game 1, but really came together into his own, putting up about 15 points a game in the last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Andrew Wiggins. And I'll hand him right off to you. You love that guy.
I mean, what he did in this whole playoff run, not just the finals, that's what you need to win a title, and that's what he did. I mean, like, he took the assignment because usually you would have Clay on
best defender.
You would have Clay on the best player.
Clay, but I just don't think Clay's like that anymore. At least this season, right off the injury. Maybe next
year. I agree. I mean, like, Clay is still a starter in the NBA. He's just never going to be the same, I don't think. But what Wiggins did, he locked Jason Tatum down.
Yeah.
Locked him down. He guarded Luka in the Western Conference Finals
efficiently too, as best as you could.
Like he had such an impressive, just on defense, such an impressive playoffs. And then you add the scoring. I think he averaged. I wish I had it, but I think he averaged like 19 a game in the playoffs, which that's a huge piece.
Yeah.
Because especially with Clay struggling and coming back. I mean, Clay had some big games, but Wiggins did that every night.
Yeah, consistent. That's what you need. You need a guy that's going to play the 4 and could guard 1 through 4, 1 through 5.
Yeah.
I think Tatum was shooting like 28% or 30% against when Andrew Wiggins was guarding him. So I think that too, when we talk about defense, when a guy's locking down consistently and giving his heart on defense like that, and then you have Draymond as well, the whole team rallies around him. And I think another big problem the Celtics were having was they were trying to utilize a lot of mismatches. I was reading. And I saw some statistics where every time Steph Curry, because he was probably the most vulnerable defender on that team, when you have Kevin Looney, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, and Clay, who the 3 of those guys are all NBA-type defenders.
Yeah.
Kevin Looney's a nice piece down low to protect the rim.
Mm-hmm.
You're going at Steph every time.
Right.
But Steph still averaged, I think, about a steal and a half, 2 steals a game, and it was a crazy stat. They were shooting under 40% when they were putting Steph back to the basket. So that's an incredible job by Steph Curry to do that. So it just starts with, you said, like that role player Andrew Wiggins to do that on defense. So.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to the Warriors. They are probably going to be the favorites to win next year.
It's no surprise, and it's such a safe bet.
Yeah, I mean they get Wiseman back next year, which is crazy.
And Kuminga's going to be better,
right?
And Moses Moody's going to be better. And they drafted a couple players.
Like
Baldwin they're going to be G League though. Rollins. Rollins and Baldwin. Those are 2 great shooters.
I know Patrick Baldwin was going to be the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Before this year, and they got him at 28 or whatever.
He's going to be sweet because he's in a great system.
They're good. Both those guys are good. But I mean, like, you add Wiseman down low to this team.
That's scary.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. You set some high screens with him that can do some damage because he can pick and pop too.
They're going to be good. I mean, the NBA is going to be great next year. Like we said, it's in good hands.
Yeah, because you got.
But it was really an incredible year.
It was fun to watch, and it was that Golden State like franchise and team is one that like you just can't not love because Steph Curry's.
I don't understand why people hate Curry.
Steph Curry's one of the most lovable players in the NBA.
Yeah,
humble guy, knows his roots. Wins basketball games and
gets it done, and deservedly finally won that Finals MVP. I also gave that out even money. You're welcome.
Nice.
But I mean, like, he deserved it. This was his team. This was his Finals, and they did it again. So I mean,
we'll see. Next year's gonna get interesting.
Yeah.
I also like the Bucks too next year because I think Giannis could win another one, but they got to stay healthy as well. Chris Middleton, they got to take care of him. So.
I know the NBA is gonna be sweet next year. I mean, it's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, I can't wait. College is going to be great.
Yeah.
NBA is going to be even better. We're back.
Man.
You already know there's going to be another Futures episode coming.
Oh, my God. In the fall, winter, for sure.
Yeah, put on your coats, cozy up. Maybe it's cuffing season. Maybe you got a girl next to you. Just listen to this podcast.
Yeah, I mean.
Actually, you can watch it now. So
that's true. Watch, listen, whatever you want to do.
Good.
We're giving you all the options. But anything else, Pete?
No, that's it. Yeah. I'm just excited for the year. Pistons are going to be great this year. Shout out Troy Weaver.
Steps in the right direction.
Yeah. One GM single-handedly has turned this franchise into a completely different direction and trajectory, and we're finally ascending. So it's a great time to be a Pistons fan. It's a shitty time to be a Michigan State basketball fan.
Yeah. It's always a shitty time to be a Michigan anything fan.
Yeah. But
football, basketball, they stink.
Yeah, that's true. But no, it's going to be a good couple seasons, so I'm excited for it and hope to be back on soon.
Yeah. Pete? Thanks for coming on, brother.
Dude, it's been a pleasure.
Much appreciated. Be sure to follow us on Pickett and on Twitter.
If you haven't subscribed, subscribe below on
YouTube.
Hit
that subscribe button. it's the off season now, so we're gonna have like a couple different episodes. Obviously, not as many picks because we're in the dog days now. It's just baseball for a couple months.
Also, we'll be in Greece for a little bit. So
yeah, true.
So we'll be a little off the map, just enjoying the beach and the ocean.
We might have to bring some equipment over. Tap in on a potty.
If you see
there.
us on the beach drinking ouzo during this podcast, it might get crazy by the last hour of it, though. So.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, make sure to follow us. We appreciate all the support. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.